whatever you guys really want to talk about. And with that, I guess, it starts my story with how I got in front of you today. Really was 6, 7 years ago when I was a senior, actually a super senior at Virginia Tech. I had a French class at 9 a.m. Monday mornings, that awesome 9 a.m. Monday morning French class. And I woke up and checked my email, checked the phone, was going to pick up another girl that I was kind of into and drive to class. And everything was normal. By the time I got her and we got to campus, we were in the parking lot, just parked the car, we looked at each other, class sort of started, and we're like, should we go? Should we get breakfast? We're kind of having those debates that most students have. And since it was April, we had done that a few times already. It was getting towards the end of the year, we said we should go. So we got to class, we walked in, 7 or 8 minutes late, the teacher kind of rolled her eyes as usual. We take our seats in the room. Things continue as normal. Usually on Mondays we talk about what we did the weekend previously with each other. And like I said, things were fine. It was probably about a class of 17 people. And then halfway through the class, around 9:30ish, another girl comes in late, much later than us. This is like halfway through the class. This girl, Rachel, who's one of the best students in our class, and she takes a seat like right in the front row. And we look at her like, Rachel, what gives? Like, why'd you even come today? Most students don't show up halfway through class, right? And I'm just gonna go. And so she turned around, never forget, and she said, there's a shooting in my dorm this morning, and the whole building was on lockdown. Like, they wouldn't let anybody come in or come out, and I can tell them I had class to get to, and they said, sorry, you can't leave. Until finally they said, okay, you're free to go, and I came straight here. We looked at her like, what? Like, there was a shooting on campus, and you were telling us about this? Like, why hadn't we heard about this before? And we all kind of looked at each other, so kind of startled, and we thought, well, they let Rachel go, so things must be all right. It's kind of alarming, but we thought, things were taken care of, so to speak. And the teacher continued. Probably was about, I think, 6 or 7 minutes after that, we heard this loud, like, bang, 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 like coming from outside. It sounded like outside of our entire building. It was muffled down the hallways. It sounded like a nail gun or a hammer. They were doing construction on the building just next to ours all semester. We heard all sorts of weird noises and we chalked it up to construction. And the teacher carried on. Seconds later, that same bang got much louder. It was bang, bang, bang. This was like something in the hallway, not outside. At that point, the teacher's expression just dropped. Like, you could tell she was very concerned. We kind of looked at her like in total disbelief, like, is that a gun? Because it was literally like down the hall. And immediately she walks to the door. This is kind of the classroom. There's the one door to the class. This is the front of the class. And she walks immediately to the door to look in the hallway. And as soon as she opens the door, she slams it back shut. She turns to us and she's like, everybody underneath your desk, somebody call 911. We looked at her again, like, what? Like, are you serious? This is really happening? That's really a gun. Total shock. She looked at me and she said, call 911. I was right over there. I pulled on my phone, dialed 911. First time in my life, I'd never done it before in a real emergency. I heard a woman on the phone and said, look, I think someone's shooting a gun in Norris Hall. I'm not sure what's happening. She's like, Norris Hall? I was like, yeah, Norris Hall in Blacksburg. She's like, Blacksburg? Yeah, Blacksburg, Virginia, America. Hello. I thought that this was local emergency. My Nextel phone had contacted Nextel Emergency in Ohio. I get another woman's voice on the phone, and I said, so someone's shooting a gun in Norris Hall. And at that point, bullets come through the front of the door, and everybody hits the floor. And at that point, that's when I realized that this is not a joke. I jumped, like I said, everyone jumped to the floor. We had those chair, table, desk units and things together, and jumped behind one, and I looked to the front of the class for 1 second, right when I got to the ground, and I saw a pair of khaki combat boots, khaki pants, white shirt from the feet up, and then 2 holsters over both shoulders, crossed. The way this person was walking looked like they were about to exit the room, not that they had just come in. And so my first thought when I saw this person was, it's a cop. Someone who had climbed up the windows on this side and was coming in to go deal with the problem out there. instead of going out the door, kind of turned down the row of desks where I was. I said, this is not who it was. I thought it was. I turned away, and then bang. I felt one of those bangs above my left knee. And that feeling shook my entire body. And that feeling was the most intense, like sharp sting, kind of burning sensation I ever felt. But that soon faded into like this numbness, wetness, kind of warm down the leg. And that moment, it kind of came full circle. Like I just got shot. Like this is actually real. And he left the room. I couldn't see a whole lot. I was facing the rear of the room, but I could tell because the sound of the gunfire was different. It was behind, a wall. It was different pitch. And I heard just a constant sound of gunfire throughout the entire time. I also heard the woman's voice on the phone. I was still online with the police. And my memory of this, honestly, 6 years later, guys, is a little faded. And I've told the story a lot of times, but I remember things kind of come in different order. So, comes back into the room a second time. This time, instead of just kind of being in the front of the classroom and in our section, he kind of goes down each of the rows, kind of more methodical, just a constant bang, bang, bang. No one ever really said anything, no one talked, he didn't say anything, just a word, a clip would change, and he just keeps shooting. And that second time, he shot right above my left head. And at that point, I tried to, there was nowhere to let it go. I remember thinking of going for the windows for a split second. I'm glad I didn't. I probably wouldn't be here if I had done that. The windows weren't as easiest to get out of. Some people in the other classrooms were able to jump out of the windows. They didn't get gunshot injuries, but they broke their legs, broke their ankles, and jumped down to a 2-story drop. They survived. He ultimately left a second time and came back a third time. And when I say he leaves, he goes back down the hallway. This is what I learned after the fact from the police. He goes back down the hallway into those classrooms where we heard those first gunshots. He tries to get into other classrooms. Some other classrooms in the hallway who hadn't been entered yet, they realized what was happening. And I know people who actually laid down on the ground, 2 guys with their feet against the door and just watched bullets come above their head, but they kept him coming in. They knew what was happening before we did, and they were able to act. It was just too late. As it comes in the third time, I had not felt any pain. Like I was very alert, very awake throughout this whole experience, but there was no pain. Most people think you get shot, it's like very painful. I think it's like a life or death kind of thing. Just your body goes into like natural, like save your life mode, reserves blood in different places, and puts like a natural endorphin over your body to act numb. This whole thing felt like almost like a dream. It was very surreal. Third time he comes in, I moved my body a little bit, and he came down. I couldn't see anything. I was facing the back of the room, but I could kind of hear. I think all the rest of your senses get really heightened. I remember the smell throughout the whole thing. It smelled like the propellant smelled like fireworks. It smelled like what you smell of 4th of July. And as he came the third time, I was shot across the chest into my armpit, which flipped my whole body around. And then the 4th time at my right hip. And then that was basically one of the last shots that I heard. As soon as that happened, and I flipped my whole body, everything just got quiet. And I thought, at this point, you could hear the police were already in the building. I could hear them very early, very on outside. Unfortunately, before he started shooting, he actually chained each door to the building up from the inside and put a sign in front of us that if you open this door, it will explode. There were no explosives, but the sign served its purpose. It stopped students from leaving and actually stopped the cops from getting in. They found a maintenance door, and I remember hearing the big kind of deep boom of the gunshot as they blew the lock off that door and entered the building. But you could hear them very, in the building at that point. They were pretty close. And I thought he stopped shooting because he was waiting to engage with them, shoot the cops. I also forgot to say that the second time he came in the room, like I said, trying to know where to go, I had a broken leg, couldn't find. I just threw the phone out of my hand, tried to act natural, go with the force of the bullet. And my phone was an old school like flip phone back then. Stayed open, and it landed next to a girl, Emily, next to me, next to her blonde hair. She picked it up, she tucked it underneath all of her hair, hit it, and remained online with the police the entire time. And ultimately, she was the one to say, look, he's here, he's in Loyola. So like I said, when they stopped shooting, I thought the cops were close, they're gonna come in. Sure enough, the cops are at the door, and they can't open the door. My teacher's body and those students' body is in the way. They yell into the room, "Can someone help us open the door?" I'm thinking like, what? Please help us, and we help you. This is crazy. And out of the corner of my eye, behind an overturned table, my classmate Clay jumps up and runs to the front. I'm thinking like, oh my God, Clay is fine. Clay didn't get hurt. Clay had to move my teacher out of the way. They opened the door for the cops. The cops came in. The first thing they said is, "Shoot her down." Shoot her down was the words that made me realize this whole thing is over. He wasn't waiting for the cops. The last gunshot I heard was what he gave to himself in front of the classroom. The police began immediately triaging all the students in the room. They used a color system for this. I heard this person's yellow, this person's red, and then I heard black tag, black tag, black tag. Most of the people around me in the back, right corner of the room were alive. I thought everybody was alive. There was screams in the beginning, but then towards the end, it was pretty quiet. It felt like hours, and I learned it was 9.5 minutes. When they got to me, I think they gave me a yellow, and the girl that I drove to class that day, Christina, was against the wall. She was bleeding out of her back. They gave her a red. I remember looking at her, and she looked like she was about to fall asleep. She was like really tired. And pulled us. We were the last two to get pulled out of the room. And they dragged us back, and that was the last image I had, getting dragged out of the front of the classroom and seeing all these other just tables and people. And I thought at the time, like, oh, they're going to get them next. I just didn't quite understand it all. And there was just shell casing